Hello everyone, today's video is going to be about medical laboratory assistant interviews, questions and answers, and I'll be covering both if you've got some experience and you applying for the position, or if you're a recent graduate with no experience. I've got you covered, so let's go. So everyone, welcome to this new video where I'll be talking about the essential medical laboratory assistant interview questions and answer, how to ace the interview or to ace your interview. And this is part one. You'll know at the end of this video why is it part one and what is part two. So let's crack on. By the way, guys, I don't like interviews. I don't like job applications. I don't like anything of this kind. So it's actually tough for me to go through it with you guys, but for your benefit and for you guys to benefit from it. So the first thing you need to appreciate is the day of a medical laboratory assistant or MLA laboratory. Normally, the day will begin at 9 a.m. That's not the case now. You've got shift work. So whether 12, 9 a.m. if you're doing a late shift, or 8, 12 or 1 if you're doing a late shift, or if you're doing a night shift. So this is just the standard if you're doing a 9 to 5, but that's not the case. The main role is to assist biomedical scientists with their job work, and the first task is to check the equipment, materials, stocks, and order new supplies. Next, you label and sort samples, not necessarily blood samples. This resource is just saying for hematologists, so that's just an example. And ensure that the samples are properly stored after making up chemical solutions for general use, and carry out some general clerical duties, printing, filing reports, entering data, patient data on your computer system. You enjoy working in a lab, helping scientists diagnose diseases and contribute to life-saving processes of the hospital. This is quite different for me because I work in microbiology, but that in microbiology as well, it's similar to that. They receive samples, they label similar tasks. So that's what the medical laboratory assistant do. So this is taken from the NHS website specifically for medical laboratory assistant. As you know, biomedical science involves different disciplines: hematology and blood transfusion, blood sciences, microbiology like myself, genetics, so many. So this is just an example. So according to the website, if this sounds like you love science and working in a laboratory, you enjoy following instructions, pay attention to detail, and highly organized, you are also a good communicator and a team worker, then this job will be for you. So I've shared the first few slides in previous videos about MLAs and biomedical sciences or BMS versus MLAs. So check those videos, but this is just for context to lead us to the question. So for example, if you're new to this video and this is the first time, at least that will give you an introduction on what MLAs or medical laboratory or technicians do. So scientific laboratory technician, I've used different resources, by the way. That's why I've got different terminology. I'm trying to, like I say on my channel, I'm trying to look at the global image of the role of biomedical sciences. So according to this resource, it says what does a scientific laboratory technicians do? Performing laboratory tests and produce reliable, accurate data, preparing specimens and samples for analysis, operating and maintaining lab equipment, recording and interpreting results to support senior scientists, ensuring the lab is well stocked, organized, and safe. And another resource, that's a UK one, MLAs or medical laboratory assistants. It involves processing samples, labeling specimens, clean workspaces, maintaining laboratory equipment, performing tests, preparing test samples. Don't worry, guys. Every video, any information that I have, I always include information in the video description. So this is going to be completely downloadable, free. Feel free to have a look at it. So that's why I'm not going word by word, letter by letter, but this is for your own note. If you are applying for the NHS, you have to appreciate there's different bandings in terms of MLAs, and obviously some of you, like myself, are aiming for the top title biomedical scientist. So most people look for trainee biomedical scientists, but as you might be aware, it's a super competitive way of trying to start your career to become a biomedical scientist. So I want you to appreciate the other two positions: medical laboratory assistant band 3. As you know, in the NHS they have band 2, band 3. and band 4, which is associate practitioner, or sometimes there's a different term used, support worker. So bear that in mind. So these are the other two titles you have to bear in mind, or the banding if you're applying for the NHS. This is a table that I've put together. It wasn't easy. Just to show you the criteria of band 2, band 3, band 4 of MLA or medical laboratory assistant, in terms of qualifications, experience, skills, knowledge. And as you can see, as you progress through the bands from 2 to 3, it gets higher and higher. So let me say, band twos are involved in the collection of specimen. Let me talk about the tasks in order for you to have that imagination of it. Medical laboratory assistant band 2, they are involved in collecting the samples, sorting the samples, labeling the samples, booking the samples, and then distributing them to their right sections, or their sections where the samples will be taken for processing. Band 3 are involved in the processing. Band 4 are involved in processing as well, in addition to advanced tasks to support biomedical scientists or senior biomedical scientists, such as team leading, training, delegating, etc. All the other two bands also are involved in training, like newcomers or experienced students, etc. So this is a table for your own reference. You will see that in the person specification when they look for it. So this is what I used to do. I used to look on the job description, but then I would definitely look for the person specification, because that's the one that how they select you, and that's what they base their questions on. So comment below if you have extra information, or if I'm misinformed in anything like you guys do. So I'm very happy that you guys comment to correct me if I made a mistake. So that was the NHS. I always have this comparison table. If you're new to the career, don't underestimate trying to explore the private sector. However, bear in mind there are aspects that you have to understand, but it's a great way to start. I started my career as an MLA or as a BMS in the private sector, and then I was able to move between NHS and private. So bear that in mind. I already explained this, and I will explain it in a future video more into details. But in at this point, I want you to appreciate, don't be afraid to explore positions if they are in private diagnostic laboratories. I've spoken about the skills as well. The qualifications has been covered already. So this is a slide from a previous video. You need to appreciate the technical skills, lab techniques, problem solving, good hand-eye coordination for handling equipment, experience in calibrating and maintaining lab equipment, strong maths and computing skills for data analysis. That's very, very important. These are the technical skills. The soft skills: communication, time management, flexibility, and attention to detail. So now we move into the questions. Sometimes the first question will be, tell me about yourself. This is a very basic question. Sometimes it's just like an icebreaker question. So always start from where you are and then go back. So if you're that's as simple as that. I don't want to complicate you, because most of us, when we answer that question, we kind of get confused or we forget. So remember where you are, your current situation, and go back, and keep it very, very simple. Just make it like bullet points. If you want me to explain on that, let me know, guys, in the comment section. But I really prefer this for you guys to deliver it naturally. That's it. So let's go to this first question. Why are you interested in working as a medical laboratory assistant? Module answer is, I've been fascinated by how laboratory research and analysis contribute to scientific and medical advancement. As MLA or technician, I have the opportunity to support complex investigation, ensure that scientists will focus on complex aspects of research. My passion lies being part of a team that makes discoveries to create new treatment, assuming that this is in research. So in terms of lab, you can relate it to being a supporting role to biomedical scientists. And by all means, at this point, you can be transparent and talk about your aspirations, why you want to apply for this position. So I was honest from the beginning. So the key points at this question: you need to show your passion for science and contributing to research or disease diagnosis, interest in supporting scientists for ensuring smooth laboratory operations, highlighting your specific skills such as sample testing, equipment maintenance, data analysis, and that make you suited for the role. Another way of this question, in another way, can you explain the main duties you have performed as a lab technician or MLA in a previous role? Assuming that you had a experience, you can say I was responsible for performing routine and specialist laboratory tests to provide reliable data and support ongoing work, ensure that lab equipments are calibrated and well maintained, including centrifuges, pipettes, etc., preparing samples, maintaining accurate record of data, creating results, or let's say in microbiology, you're preparing the samples ready for examination. And the most important aspect, adhering to health and safety regulations to ensure the work is done safely. So the key points here, you highlight your experience with routine specialist testing, equipment maintenance and collaboration, attention to accurate record keeping and safety protocols. How do you ensure that health and safety standards are followed in the lab? 100% you will be asked that question, so be prepared. Following health and safety standards is essential in a laboratory setting. I always wear appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE. I'm not used to saying it in full, but yeah, PPE, and ensure that everyone in the lab does the same. I'm particular about maintaining sterile conditions by regulating cleaning and disinfecting work areas and equipment. I also strictly follow lab and chemical biological waste disposal procedures and minimizing contamination. Very important. That very important. And safe, working safely. So health and safety, very important. In addition, I ensure that safety procedures like handling hazardous substances and adhering to the following COSH, control of substances hazardous to health guidelines. These things, remember them in your head, because sometimes you might be challenged and say, oh, can you define, tell me the definition of COSH or PPE? That more likely you will be asked those questions. So the key points you're highlighting by answering this question is the use of PPE, adherence to health and safety guidelines, commitment to maintaining sterile and safe work conditions, familiarity with safety procedures, including COSH. Can you tell us about a time you encountered a problem with laboratory equipment and how you resolved it? You can say, during one shift, I noticed a centrifuge was not spinning at a correct speed. By the way, this is a very common question you'll be asked, the centrifuge, which could have compromised the test results. I immediately stopped the equipment and checked the user manual for troubleshooting advice. Sometimes they will ask you, how long do you leave the centrifuge closed? I was asked that almost in every interview. So after recalibrating the machine, I tested using control samples to ensure it was functioning properly. Once I was satisfied, I documented the issue and solution in the maintenance log and informed my supervisor so that the equipment could be monitored for any future issues. So the key points here is the ability to troubleshoot and resolve the equipment malfunctions, initiatives in checking manuals and recalibrating, importance of documenting issues and communicating with the team. So in the next question, how do you prioritize tasks in a busy laboratory environment? In a busy lab, I prioritize tasks based on urgency and deadlines. For example, urgent samples that have an immediate impact on the patient care or research outcomes are completed first. I ensure that I allocate time for routine tasks such as sample preparation and equipment maintenance so that they don't fall behind. I use a daily checks to stay organized and make sure that all tasks, especially high priority ones, are completed efficiently. If multiple urgent tasks arise, I collaborate with my colleagues to distribute the work effectively. That's very important, to ask for support. That's a big issue. Some people don't do that. So key points here is prioritizing based on urgency and deadlines. Use organizational tools such as checklists, collaborating with colleagues to manage workload. So this is a question that you might be asked, so be prepared. How do you stay updated with new technologies and development in laboratory techniques, for example? Your answer will be, I make it a priority to stay informed about the latest development in laboratory techniques and technologies by subscribing to industry publications such as laboratory news and attending webinars or workshops hosted by professional bodies like IST or chemistry or IBMS in this case. Additionally, I actively participate in any in house training programs, and I enjoy networking with colleagues and exchanging knowledge about emerging technologies. So, here you show that you're engaged with industry publications, webinars, and workshops, participating in training programs, networking with colleagues for knowledge sharing. So, this is a very good way to show that you are keen to learn. So, don't be prepared for that question. Describe your experience with data management and reporting in laboratory. Accurate data management is critical, which is true, in ensuring that experiments are reliable, yield reliable results, or in this case, disease diagnosis is very important to make sure that you enter the data correctly, and also to make sure that you're recording the data correctly using the laboratory information management system, or LIMS. That's also another terminology you need to remember. I ensure that all the data is logged accurately and timely. After analyzing the data, I create clear and concise report that highlights findings and any abnormalities, which then presented to senior colleagues. So here you show proficiency in using data management, using the LIMS, importance of accuracy and time of recording the data, ability to create reports for senior staff or communication. So this answer, any answer that I give you is just for you to be prepared on how to answer. So make sure that you tailor all these questions, all these answers. I'm just giving you like a starting point, because even for me, sometimes I'm reading, I'm thinking this is not, some of them might not be relevant to microbiology, but I'm trying to give you, let's say, starter point, because truly interviews are very nerve-wracking for some people, because they can ask you anything, and the panel could be 2 people, 3 people, I'm not sure if it's 4 people. So each of them will be targeting a certain section, so be prepared to cover as much as possible. So that's why I would suggest to make sure that you research about the organization or the NHS trust that you are applying for, like what are their values, what work that has been done, or what is the work that they are doing at the moment. All of this, have that in mind. Do your research. Don't just apply and just hope for the best, even if you're applying for an MLA, because if you are aiming to progress, you need to show that you are that ambitious. How do you handle repetitive tasks while maintaining accuracy, which is a real life question. Repetitive tasks such as sample preparation or equipment collaboration are a crucial part of the laboratory work, and I ensure that I approach them with the same level of focus at any task. I double check my work at every step to maintain accuracy. To keep my concentration, I take short breaks where needed and follow strict protocols, ensuring that I'm consistent throughout the day. I also find that staying organized helps me perform repetitive tasks more effectively without compromising quality. So here you show that you are focused, you double check your work to ensure your consistency, you're using the strict protocols for repetitive tasks, and importance of staying organized and taking breaks where necessary. This is very true, because yes, the labs are super busy these days, and it's very difficult to maintain focus because you are surrounded by so much background noise. But to reassure you, you will develop that sort of level of focus, and you will have your own way. So be prepared to answer that question as well, because it is a challenge these days. It always has been. How do you contribute to teamwork in the lab? Remember, I mentioned before that it's very important, the teamwork, because we are sharing the same space. So that's another potential question that you might be asked. So teamwork is essential for efficient running of the lab. I ensure I'm always supportive to my colleagues, whether it's helping with sample preparation, equipment. I make myself available when needed. I also believe in clear communication, especially when handling shared tasks or equipment, to ensure everyone is aware of others' progress. I'm proactive in offering solutions. If I see a bottleneck in the workflow, I always try to foster collaborative environment. So here you show that you're a proactive supporter. you communicate with your colleagues. Your communication is very clear about sharing any tasks, and you are able to troubleshoot and improve workflow collaboratively. So that's very important, being a strong team worker in the laboratory, even if you're an MLA. That next question, can you explain the importance of calibration and maintaining of laboratory equipment? It's very important. Calibration and maintenance of lab equipment are vital for ensuring accurate and reliable results. Uncalibrated equipment can lead to wrong data, which will have significant consequences on the investigation and patient care. I make sure that all equipments are regularly calibrated, and regular maintenance will ensure that the equipments are performing or running smoothly with minimum risks of unexpected breakdowns. I make sure that I document any calibration and maintenance to check and ensure traceability and compliance with laboratory standards. So here you show the importance of calibrating for accuracy, regular maintenance to prevent any problems, documenting the maintenance, and calibrating for traceability. All of this is very important in order to maintain lab equipment. So here you make sure that the equipments are working, because if they're not working, work cannot happen, and that will affect the patient. How do you ensure accuracy while preparing and testing samples? You follow protocols for sample preparation, avoid any contamination or error. You label clearly, using aseptic technique, handling reagents and instruments with precision. When testing samples, you control samples to validate the results. Make sure that all the instruments are functioning properly. Attention to detail to ensure that the results are accurate and reliable. So here you show that you're following strict protocols, using aseptic techniques, validating with control samples, cross-referencing results for consistency and accuracy. So all of these answers, you are showing that you have technical skills, the required technical skills, attention to detail, dedication to accuracy and safety. So these answers will highlight your readiness to work effectively in a laboratory setting, ensuring that you meet the specific requirements of the role. So right now, you might be thinking, either I'm a graduate, I don't have any laboratory experience or industry experience, I didn't have any placement. So don't worry. We're going to talk about that in the next video. So just for you to take away, we're going to look at the answers that you provide, where we will focus on your transferable skills, any relevant academic experience, or maybe you might had some sort of internships, and your strong desire to learn. So stay tuned. Don't worry. We're going to look at that in the next video. Maybe at the end of this video, you'll be like, oh, Ida, you only covered people who already have experience. What about me? I'm recent graduate. I have no experience, or I'm fairly new to this industry. Don't worry, I'm going to cover this in the next video, because as you have seen, this video is very lengthy. I'm trying to cover as much information and as many questions as possible. So in the next video, we're going to cover that. If you found this video useful, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that as many people can benefit from it. So stay tuned until next week. I'll be covering the second part of this series of medical laboratory assistant question and answers. So until next time, keep shining, keep inspiring, and see you next time.